Afternoon from my side here. Good evening, good morning, good whatever time it is in your own place. I'm excited and I'm happy to, you know, anchor these tutorials today. I know a couple of us wrote the exams last week and some are still going to write in the coming week. I wish all of you all the best. I wish you success and yes, I hope to hear your news, good news, so that your data, your time, and all of that will not be in vain. So yes, today we are going to be talking about the writing task again. That seems to be where the majority of people have more of the problem. I don't know why um, writing seemed that difficult, but it's not something that is undoable. It's something that you can do, and so I'll encourage you to participate as much as possible so that you maximize your time in this place and be able to learn like you should learn. Our ground rule still stands. If you come in, please do have your video on. Thank you very much. I discovered that the setting is such a way that when I take people out now, they can't come back into the class. I wouldn't want to take anyone out of the class. So please obey the ground rules so we don't end up taking you out. All right. The assignment, I didn't see anyone sending their work, but that's okay. It means that you understood what it is and you're not interested in bothering me with plenty of work. I just wanted to be sure and then give individual feedback. But that's all right if we did understand what has been taught in class. So today we'll go over the writing task again and we will still do some examples. Um, with time, the class is no longer going to be like the way it used to be. I come and talk and talk. Maybe we'll be having more of tasks now so we can access what you have learned. We want to know that you're not wasting your time and we are not talking to the thin air as well. Um, the writing task is such that you are to finish in 1 hour and they are divided into two. We have writing task one and writing task two. The writing task one is more of what you can see, while writing task two is more of what you can think, your own ideas. In writing task one, you'll be given things like diagrams, you'll be given processes to discuss and all of that. They give you something to see, and from what you have been given, they expect you to make a contribution or draw an assumption or to like, you know, summarize whatever information that is there, like you are interpreting the diagram to your examiner. So for me, both of them are nearly the same because you may be seeing something and you don't know what it is. So you still need to do lots and lots of thinking. One good thing, however, is the fact that you will be given a diagram, you will get to see what it is, and then you can write based on that. But for writing task two, you are expected to interpret, you are expected to write, you are expected to compose something, all right, using the question prompts that you have been given with your own ideas using your own language. Writing task two is the one that is a little bit more difficult because you need to think up ideas, and the area of thinking up answers and points and reasons is where people have lots and lots of issues. And so it will be better for you if you are open-minded, all right? You need to open your brain up so that, ideas can flow in. It's better that way. And then secondly, you need to know how to organize and arrange your work in such a way that your work makes sense. And because of this, the examiners have come up with like a guide, something to guide you, to tell you, to teach you, to direct you, you know, on how these answers should come so that your work is organized, your work is well arranged, and there's a flow between them in such a way that your examiner can read and understand and give you a desired mark. That is how writing generally is. So if you have started practicing and writing, you will find out that when you write well, it affects your speaking as well. You begin to speak better than you used to speak. You begin to think and contribute to cases, to issues more than you used to. The people that do, you know, this football analysis, like they come and they discuss and all of that, that's basically what happens with the writing task in a way, because one person may be of one opinion, the other may be of the other opinion, and that's where we talk about your opinion essays and the rest of them. Writing task 1 and writing task 2 have different question types, but irrespective of the question types, there are common things to all of them, which is the band descriptors that we have always talked about. Band descriptors are the basis. They are the things that your examiners will use to rate your work, all right? They are the guide, okay? This guide is called the band descriptors. They are devices that are called grading criteria for both the writing task 1 and writing task 2, as well as your speaking test as well. So we will be explaining these elements again for the purpose or the benefit of those that are joining us for the first time or that will be seeing this video for the first time. If you are joining us on YouTube for the first time, you are welcome. Please don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to click on the bell button so that you can get notified each time we have a video come up or we are in a class like this. Also, please subscribe to the channel, and then yes, we'll take it from there. If you are on the YouTube channel and you want to join our classes, if you check on my Facebook page, on African Ghetto Dreams, on almost all the nursing groups, I have posted the guide on how to go about joining these classes on Zoom or subscribing on YouTube. The only criteria for you to join our class on Zoom is that you must have your video on. Other than that, there's nothing else, except that we also expect you to participate in the classwork when you are in the live class on Zoom. So, band descriptors for the writing task. Band descriptors, number 1 is task achievement or task response. Task achievement or task response. When they say achievement, it means that you have been able to get that goal, all right? Task achievement, task response. It means that you have answered the way you should answer. So this criterion assesses how well you have focused on the topic and answered the questions, all right? For you to score a complete mark in your task achievement, you must write not less than 250 words. Under task achievement, we have the word count, which is not less than 250. And please don't let your words be up to 300, because in a multitude of words, mistakes are not lacking. That's number 1. Number 2, when you write too much, you begin to repeat yourself. So if you are repeating yourself, repetition of ideas or of reasons does not add any mark to you. Instead, it makes your work bulky, and sometimes it may annoy your examiner and reduce your mark as well. Also, you should satisfy all the requirements of the task or cover all parts of the topic. For example, a question says that you should discuss both views and give your opinion. If you discuss both views and you don't give your opinion, it means you have just done a 2-question essay. You have not answered it like it should be answered, which is the opinion, um, both views and opinion. That's the kind of question that it is. So for you to also score your correct mark in that kind of a question, you should have discussed one side and discussed the other side and given your opinion. For you to also have completed the task, you should have the structure of the writing task completed. That is, when you have an introduction, a first body paragraph, a second body paragraph, and a conclusion. For irrespective of whatever kind of writing task tool that you have, you should have done that. All right. So because the 3 types, we've rated everything and we've graded them into 3 parts. Okay, we will still get into that. So you should have completed whatever aspect the question is asking you, all of the types, all of the things that the question is asking, you should have done that. That way you are going to get your correct mark for task achievement. Cover all parts of the question. And also when you give ideas, you where it says that you should give examples, relevant examples where possible. If you do that, it adds more marks to you, and it helps your examiner to know that you understand the question that you are asked. That way you improve your band score at the end of the day. For writing task 1, if you are doing if for your task achievement, you should write not less than 150 words, okay? And if they say analyze, you should have analyzed as well. If they say select and report, you should have selected and reported. Now, one good thing with the writing task 1 is the fact that as you do one, you are invariably doing the other one. For example, if they say select and report the main features, it doesn't mean that you are going to select the main features and write about them. You say, okay, main features here is highest occurring, this number is 25 for this and 32 for this one. No, it's not going to be like that. As you're selecting them, you're writing on them. So it makes you do 2 things at a time, and it saves you time at the end of the day. All right, for writing task 1 as well, you should have the structure completed. The structure of the writing task 1 is such that you have 3 paragraphs at the end of the day. We have what we call the overall statement, which serves like an introduction to your work, and we have the overview. Your overview should be divided into 2 paragraphs, irrespective of the kind of writing task 1 that you are doing. That is that about task achievement or task response. Now we move over to coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion is a part of the band descriptors, all right, that accesses how well you are able to explain your ideas, how well you are able to write your ideas down, how well you have connected them to make good paragraphs and to also make sense, all right? So here, you must sequence the information and ideas logically. Sequence your information and ideas logically. That way you are fulfilling, the issue of what's it called, structure. The structure of the writing task is what really gives you a good mark in this one. Your ideas to be sequential. If they had asked you that you should discuss both views and give your opinion, okay, sequencing your idea here means that you will take one view, discuss it, then you stop, go to the next view, discuss it, and put a full stop. Then you go to where you are to conclude and write your opinion as well. That way, your ideas are arranged in such a way that if you are looking for one side, you go to one paragraph, you get everything about one side, and then you go to the next paragraph, you get everything about the other side, and then I'm able to conclude or to draw an assumption or whatever in my conclusion as well. Here is expecting you also to use a range of cohesive devices appropriately. What are cohesive devices? Cohesive devices are the ones that you use to link your sentences together to give you good paragraphs, all right? All of the howevers, the moreovers, how well do you make use of them? I know they're coming under your lexical resource, okay? But those things that you're using, these cohesive devices, knowing where and how to use them gives you a good mark in your coherence and cohesion. The reason is because it makes it easier for whoever is reading your essay, your examiner, your friends, your colleague, your tutor, whoever is reading your essay to understand what you have done. It also shows that you know what you are doing, all right? Appropriate paragraphing comes under this thing as well. Appropriate paragraphing. For instance, your paragraph is not too short and neither is it too long. Okay, we say that a good paragraph should have at least 3 to 4 sentences linked together, all right, using these cohesive devices. You should also have a clear progression between your work. You don't move back and forth. For instance, you are discussing one side of the view, and then you bring in opinion of the second side of the view into the one side that you're discussing, and then you go to where you are supposed to conclude and you are discussing again. So if you are rigmaroling and moving up and down, it reduces the mark for your coherence and cohesion because there's no flow between your work at the end of the day. Here also is talking about your repetition. If you repeat one information several times, it cuts off your mark as well. This will take us to lexical resource, all right? So lexical resource is a component of the band descriptors that accesses your vocabularies in terms of error, how well you can use advanced language to present your own ideas. This means that one, you must use vocabularies that allow some form of flexibility and precision in your work. Okay, use very less common vocabulary, like words that are not commonly used but they relate to what you are saying. Don't just go and look for words that they say is a big word, so I must use this big word, and then you are using the big word and it's not supposed to be used in that particular context. It takes you knowing what word to use and what context that I'm using this word for you to score a good mark in your lexical resource. Avoiding errors with your word choices. Avoiding errors with your word choices. This is connected to a good mark also in your lexical resource. When you avoid errors also with word formation, all right? Avoiding errors, very, very important with your spellings. For you to score a good mark in lexical resource, you must avoid errors with spellings, avoid errors with word formation, avoid errors with your paragraphing, your sentences, your vocabulary also. All right, so because of this, for you to score a good mark, usually at the beginning of the class, I give out words that are related, okay, to whatever area that we will be writing on, so that you can go all out, get these synonyms, and you are able to paraphrase using these synonyms in such a way that you're not changing the information, but you're changing the words that are used. At the end, your examiner understands that of a truth, you do understand what you're doing and you understand what the question is asking you. Finally, among the band descriptors, I'll be talking about grammatical range and accuracies. Grammatical range and accuracy has to do with your grammar, has to do with your English, the way you present your words. Growing up as children, we used to take note of teachers or colleagues or friends that speak what we call tian. When they speak, you say arrow, everybody bend down for the arrow because somebody has shot an arrow. What does it mean? Because somebody has spoken bad English. So this has to do with your English generally, all right? Has to do with how you can use advanced sentences to produce error-free write-ups, error-free writings, all right? And so this entails you to use a mix of simple and complex sentences. You remember in primary school and in secondary school, when they were teaching us English language, they did make mention of simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. What makes the difference? Simple sentences are just like normal, maybe you say one or two things and at the end of the day is a sentence. Complex sentences has to be with a combination of both the compound and the simple sentence. That's where you have your linking words coming in between these sentences to link them together. Now, Ada is a girl is a simple sentence. Ada is a girl. A compound sentence, I can go ahead and say Ada is a girl and the only child of her parents. Ada is a girl and the only, so what makes it compound now? I have used and to link two simple sentences together and I've made it a compound sentence. If I want to make a complex sentence from this same statement, I can go ahead and say Ada is a girl, comma, and the only Ada is a girl and the only child of her parents, full stop. However, she does not feel loved by her parents, or she does not feel well cared for or well taken care of. This is more of a complex sentence. The reason is because I have brought in, we have what we call the subject and the object and all of that. I'm not going to go into teaching us the foundation of English language at this time because it's expected that we should have some basic understanding. I'm just going to bring them to our remembrance. When we were learning English, we talk about you starting a sentence with a subject and an object and all of that stuff. So if you go back to that basic, it will give you like a good understanding or a better understanding of what I'm trying to explain. So in your grammatical range and accuracy, it's expected, all right, that you should make use of more of simple and complex sentences rather than compound sentences. And that's why we are looking out for you to use these cohesive devices to join your simple sentences together, make it a compound sentence, complex sentence in a paragraph. That's what your examiners want you to do. All right. Producing error-free sentences, grammatical range and accuracy. Producing error-free sentences and avoiding errors with your grammar and then punctuations. Very, very important. Where are you supposed to put a question mark? Is it there? Are you supposed to cross your T? For me, when I write a T and it's not crossed, it looks like an L. That's the way my writing is. And for many of us, I don't understand that, especially the lowercase t. So if you are writing and you're not crossing your T's and dotting your I's, it reduces your marks as well. If you have a full stop in the place you should have a comma and then continue, it has consequences. If you are supposed to use a continuation mark, that's the yeah, and you go ahead or you went ahead to put a full stop there, it has consequences as well. When you are supposed to ask a question with a question mark, if you make that statement and there's no question mark, nothing makes it a question. So you need to be careful with all of this because they are the ones that reduce or increase your mark. Okay? Any questions so far? No question. We have just started, so there's no question. All right. So this will, having understood and explained this, it will take us to the next thing. And what is the next thing? It has to do with the structure of the writing task. The structure of the writing task. I have briefly explained it already. The writing task 2 is made up of 4 paragraphs. They are the introduction, the first body paragraph, second body paragraphs, and your conclusion. All right. Your introduction is made up of 2 things, where we have your general statement and your specific statement. Your general statement is the question prompt paraphrased. How do you paraphrase? You take note of the keywords and you use synonyms to say the same thing in a way using different words but not changing the meaning. Your specific statement. What is your specific statement? That is the question you have been asked. Your specific statement is asking you either to discuss both views and opinion, give your opinion, or to explain the advantages and disadvantages of something. That is a 2-question essay, or it's asking you your opinion, whether you agree or you disagree with the statement that they have made. Or it can be asking you whether you strongly agree or you strongly disagree in a way that it presents it in like saying how they will ask you to what extent. So if they ask you to what extent, then you need to say whether it is strongly or somewhat, you agree or you disagree. All right. Now, in the writing task 2, there are different types of essays that you will see, essay topics that you will see in your exam. But typical to this writing task 2, we have questions that will come from education, questions that will come from innovations, questions about crime, media, technology, social issues like single parenting, divorce, drug abuse, what else? Social vices, like maybe things like alcohol abuse, or what else? We have different samples, different examples, all right, under social issues. We have issues that have to do with technology and the future, or technology and innovations together, or technology and development together. We have issues that have to do with the environment, where we have examples like air pollution, water pollution, talking about the green gases and, like gridlock and carbon monoxide pollution in the air and all of those stuffs. So it is very, very important for you, and it is more convenient if you are able to build your vocabulary around these topics. These key areas: education, innovation, crime, media, technology, social issues, okay, technology and the future, technology and development, and the environment. You should be able to build your vocabulary around these things. When they are talking about the environment, what do they mean? When they are talking about education, what are they saying? Okay, when they are talking about social issues and maybe they choose to talk about divorce, what do they mean by that? What words can I use to describe divorce and that will not change the meaning? What words can I use to describe drug abuse, substance abuse, alcohol abuse? How can I make this statement in such a way that I am explaining the same thing, all right, and I'm not changing the meaning, but I'm not using the exact words that was used in the question prompt? This is what you should concern yourself with, because by the time you have practiced and rehearsed with this very well, when the time comes up for you to use this in the exam, because you have practiced, your brain has created some pathways for these words and for these sentences. They just flow in and you find yourself writing and writing until you are able to answer clearly what the question is asking you to. Having known the different topics that you could find in writing task 2, what are the question types that you will see in writing task 2? For me, I have classified them into 3 main types of questions. Many people can have them and they may be up to 11 if they do them one after the other. But having used this classification, it made it much more easier for me to explain to you and for many of us to understand it better as well. So one of them, the first one, is an opinion essay. An opinion essay is where you are asked to give your own personal view on a particular topic. All right. And in an opinion essay, they can ask you different questions. We'll explain that later on. The second one is a both side and opinion. Both side and opinion, where you are required to discuss both sides of an argument and then give your own submission, your own opinion on that topic. The third one is called a 2-question essay. This involves responding to 3 different questions in one essay. All right. So we will explain them one after the other. Now, the opinion essays. The opinion essays, there are various question types that are classified under this opinion essay. There are about 4 of them. Number 1 is they ask you a question like, what is your opinion? The what is your opinion kind of question. Number 2, the do you agree or disagree kind of question. Number 3, the to what extent do you agree or disagree kind of question. Then sometimes you see questions like, do you think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? They're still asking you your opinion. Okay, but this is the way it will come. So under the opinion essay, we have 4 of them. Now we move to how you answer the opinion essay. Now you have maybe one of these 4 questions. How do you answer them? Number 1, you should identify the keywords and jot down synonyms. What keywords are in this question that I have been asked? What are the synonyms? What words can I use to paraphrase this question prompt without saying the same thing in their words, but I'm saying the same thing in my own words? What words can I use in my own ideas to present this question in a way that it is understood and the meaning has not changed? Number 2, decide the kind of response that you have. For instance, the question is asking you, to what extent do you agree or disagree? What will be your response? Your response has to be either a strongly or a somewhat. Number 1. Number 2, your response has to be either you agree or you disagree. Okay? Your response has to be either you agree or you disagree. If you are going to do somewhat agree or disagree, you are going to be sitting on the fence and it's very tricky. So I advise that you stay on one side of the opinion. Choose one of the opinion, all right? Because it will help you to remain focused on one area. And I advise that you should practice many of these questions before your exam. The reason is because you don't even know which particular one will come out. But if you have practiced, it means that you have come across any of them such a way that once you see them in the exam hall, the remembrance of what you have done in your practice is what is going to help you in this one. So select all of these question types, practice all of them one after the other. Improve on your practices before you write your exams. Another thing you are going to do in your planning this opinion essay is that you are going to brainstorm on your key points. Brainstorm on your key points. What are my key points? Okay, I'm supporting this opinion, or I'm saying that this is what it is. Why? What are my reasons? I have 3 or 4 of them. Which ones are stronger? Which ones are more realistic? which one should come first. You need to plan all of that so that you don't bring in weaker points before you bring in your stronger points. If you bring in your strong points first, sometimes the examiners read the introduction of your work, read how you have started attacking the question, and they go ahead to award you marks because they fall in love with what you're doing and they do understand that you know what you're doing. And at the end of the day, they see it like going through everything word after word is like a waste of time to them because they feel, this person should be able to do all of that. This person is a good candidate and all of that. So you need to capture the heart of your examiner by doing everything that it takes, all right? Arrange your work. Let there be a flow between your work. Let your work have this coherence in them and cohesion in them. Decide on your position or your assignment, whether you agree or disagree, all right? Then you plan the structure of your given task. You itemize your points from the strongest, I've said that, to the weakest. How do you write an opinion essay? What are the steps? The step is using the structure that I have explained. The introduction, your general statement, your specific statement. All right. The use of synonyms to paraphrase your general statement to give you a good introduction. Please, you don't need to bring in your points in your introduction. I have seen students write in the introduction, they are trying to tell me that they are supporting the opinion because of this and this and this. I don't need your this and this and this. I don't need your reasons. I don't need your points in your introduction yet. Keep your point. Let me get your point in the middle of your work, and that is in your body paragraph. Do we understand? I know we know how to get synonyms, but if there's anyone who is confused about getting synonyms, what are synonyms? Synonyms are words that are used in place of each other with the same meaning or meanings that are very close to each other, which can be used interchangeably without changing the meaning of the statement in which they have been used earlier on. Okay? So, we will do some tasks. We've done them before. We've done similar things before, and we will do them in this class after we have explained all of this. Now, we will move. This is all about your opinion essay. But in your opinion essay, I like to explain that in your body paragraph, the body paragraph of your opinion essay, after you have written your introduction, you need 2 body paragraphs. All right? Now, you should have it, each paragraph should have at least 2 main ideas. 2 main ideas. One is good, but 2 main ideas is advisable. That's the best thing that you should do. Write only 2 paragraphs for your body paragraph 1 and 2. Let these 2 paragraphs each carry 2 of your reasons. They should both carry 2 reasons. Okay? If you are citing examples, cite very relevant examples. I want to beg you not to go and cite examples of a research that was done in India or in Calabar. If it is not your personal research that you can quote, please don't use it. Because it's expected that you don't know the question that will appear in your exam. So you now coming to give a statistic of a research that was done. Did you have the research there with you for you to be able to quote and explain to your examiner? 1. Secondly, when you quote somebody else's work, it is not verifiable. This is an exam. It's an international exam for that matter. It's not like your examiner is marking and she's going to go on the internet and say this research, is it truly done? It's not verifiable. So use examples that are related, that one can easily see. Just cite an instance. You don't need to give any data of any 95% of women are saying that the people that smoke more are male and this. No, you don't need all that. Cite in some questions you will find them right specifically, and they say cite examples from your own experience. Have you seen such a question before? Have you seen such a question? He said from your own experience. So if they're asking you to cite examples from your own experience, for example, and you are going to go and you are going to look for examples of a maternal and child health research that was done in the US or in Canada, how does it relate to your experience? You were not even there in the first place. You didn't take part in that research. It is reported. Who knows? Maybe the data is inflated. Who even knows whether it is true or not? They can't prove it. Okay, so IELTS has to do with facts and figures. If it is your experience, you and I know that nobody can argue your own experience with you. They said, it's saying in my language that said they know they follow blind man, argue waiting in see for in dream. You follow and dream the dream? No. So it is your experience. You are saying, for instance, as a child, like maybe you were a child, you are trying to cite an example of maybe how going to school by bus is better than being dropped off by your parents or something, depending on the question that you have been asked. We will do these examples and then we will get to know how you should attack all of these questions. So please cite examples from your experience or from things that are verifiable. Don't go and quote research topics or research data that cannot be verified. All right. Now, in your body paragraph 2, you need what we call a concession. So body paragraph 1 in an opinion essay is 2 of your points. Body paragraph 2 is also 2 points. But of those 2 points, one of them is a point against your point, which is called a concession. This is a debate. For a good debate in primary or in secondary school, when we used to debate in those days, you can recall that in the course of you trying to present your points, okay, to convince the audience that what you are saying is more authentic than what your opponent is saying, you say a point that your opponent may want to use against you, and then you give a point that would nullify that point. So it's like you bringing out something and then bringing out another thing to knock out that thing that would have stood against you. If, for instance, you already have your 2 points there, your examiner is going to look for your 2 points for sure. And your examiner is going to look for your concession for sure. So when they see a concession and they see a point against the concession, those 2 knocks it out. At the end of the day, you get marked for your 2 points that are there. In case one nullifies the other, you still have 2 points. So at the end, your point is still valid and you still get your score. Now, in your conclusion of an opinion essay like we're discussing, in order for you to write an excellent conclusion, you start by using a phrase to signal that you are concluding your essay.
We can't hear you, Ma. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
What
Yes, ma.
happened? I discovered that I just went out of the class.
Yes, ma.
So where did you stop hearing?
We are talking about the conclusion, that we should start with a phrase to signal that we are concluding an essay. Can you hear me, ma? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma, we can hear you now.
Okay. Now, Linda, can you recap what I've been saying and stop where I stopped, please?
Okay. The beginning, you said how to answer opinion essay. Number one, you said we should identify the keywords and their synonyms. Hello, ma.
I can hear you.
Okay. It should be strongly or somewhat, or it should be agree or disagree. But you say it's better for us to stand in one side, either we're agreeing or we are disagreeing. And after that, we should go for brainstorming. And after the brainstorm, we should go for our key points. So you talk about the steps in opinion essay. You say we shouldn't bring our points in introduction, that some persons do that. You say we should bring our point into the body paragraph, that is very mandatory. And we should talk about the two main ideas for each paragraph, not one idea. We say we should cite relevant example from personal experience, not from other person's experience or from a quote. And you also said something about body paragraph 2. You said in body paragraph 2, we should give 2 points. Same with the body paragraph 1. But in this body paragraph 2, as we are giving our 2 points, one should be against the other points. And you were trying to talk about the conclusion when the network log you out. The conclusion, you said we should start with a phrase to signal that we are concluding an essay. That's what you said, ma.
Okay, so that's where you stopped hearing, right?
Yes, ma. Thank you,
Thank you
ma.
very much.
You're welcome.
So, I was saying that you should use a phrase to signal that you're concluding. It is very, very important. And there are different phrases, okay, that are acceptable when you want to conclude. When you want to conclude, phrases are that are acceptable. Phrases are that are acceptable when you want to start your point. So we'll go through all of those small, small phrases and things that can help you at the end of the day, right? When we get a question that we are going to write on. Now, in your conclusion, you should also um, recap, state your strong points again, and then say your opinion, restate your opinion or what you think, all right? Or what you think. Now, if at the beginning you have stated 2 points and then in your concession you stated 1 point and then a concession with your point, it means that you have 3 main points and then 1 concession, isn't it? It means you have 3 points supporting or opposing and 1 concession. Remember to mention just point, if I can use that expression. Just pinpoint your point in your conclusion. You don't need to explain and have a very long conclusion again. Remember that your conclusion is still a paragraph. It's not going to be more than 1 paragraph. This means that if you are going to summarize points from body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2, you really need to be concise, all right, and be precise for you for these things to be all compressed in one paragraph. And you must state your opinion. You must say it clearly, whether you are of the opinion that, or whether you agree that, or whether you strongly disagree, or whether you strongly agree. Or if you somewhat agree or disagree that you want to use, good and fine. Irrespective of what you want to write, make sure that you state it again for them to know. All right? Any question? Any question before I get us
Yes,
an
ma'am.
opinion
Yes, ma'am. I
example?
have a question.
Yep, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. For this, discuss both views and give your opinion.
Mm,
Is it
mm.
that in paragraph one, just like what you said, that we should give one view. In paragraph two, we should also talk about the other view. When talking about the other
We
view
have not
paragraph,
talked about discuss both views in
okay,
this
ma'am.
class.
Okay, let me just
We have
note.
just finished opinion essay. So
Okay,
if you wait a little bit, maybe we will get there.
okay, ma'am.
But if you want an answer, like an answer now, if they say discuss both views and give your own opinion, in your own opinion, how should the question be answered based on the classes you have been attending and what you understand from this class? Linda.
Yes, ma'am. It should be answered according to the task that was given to me.
So how will you answer it? If I say discuss both view and give your opinion, your introduction will be what?
My introduction. I'm going to talk about my views. I'm After talking about my introduction in terms of synonyms and all.
What information will be in your introduction, please?
Okay, at the end of my introduction, I'm going to talk about this essay will further discuss my opinion.
What will be the information in your introduction?
I don't understand. Ma.
What is the content of of your opinion,
I've
your
been asked to discuss.
introduction? What are you writing?
I don't know. I've been asked to just discuss both views. I'm just asking a question in terms of both views and opinion. I'm trying to talk about how we're going to position the both views before talking about the opinion.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the structure is for you to have 4 paragraphs where you have introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and the conclusion. Now, you have an introduction. What will be the content of your introduction in that essay? The content of your introduction is your general statement paraphrased and your specific statement. That is what will come in your introduction. Your specific statement is that your essay, like you said, is going to discuss both view and give your opinion. That's your specific statement. And that's the ending part of your introduction. Now, the question says discuss both views. It means that there are 2 views. So you pick one of the views, the first view, discuss it in 1 paragraph, go to the next paragraph, discuss the second view, and then you conclude. In your conclusion, you give your opinion. Do you understand now? Do you understand now, Linda?
Yes, I understand, ma'am.
Are you sure you understand now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So now, having discussed about opinion essay, we are going to do a task on opinion essay. This task is on opinion essay, And everything you need to know about opinion essay, I have explained it. The introduction, body paragraph, what is expected, the information, the content of your body paragraphs. I have explained it, and your conclusion as well. Now you have this question. The question says, we live in a world of technology these days. We live in a world of technology these days. Linda, you are not writing. I will not repeat it though. We live in a world of technology these days. Full stop. While the internet brings with it clear advantages, the problems in terms of control and security of information outweighs the advantages. We live in a world of technology these days. While the internet brings with it clear advantages, the problems in terms of control and security of information outweighs the advantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? While the internet brings with it clear advantages, the problems in terms of control and security of information outweighs the advantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Did everybody get the question? Who did not get the question? Everybody got the question, right? Okay. Just before you start, you are going to write. Now here, you are expected to state your opinion. When you are stating your opinion, you can use phrases like, in my opinion, or according to me, or in my view. To me, from my point of view, I think, it seems to me that, I believe, from my perspective, to my way of thinking, it appears to me that, I suppose, I realize, I understand, I imagine that, I feel that. Those are the phrases that you can use to state your opinion. Now, if you want to cite an example for me in your body paragraph, you can say something like, for example, for instance, such as, in other words, like, that is, to illustrate, to paraphrase, like, things like that. If you want to compare, if you are comparing anything at all, because you have to compare in this question, you are comparing the advantages to the disadvantages. You are trying to tell me whether the advantages outweighs the disadvantages. So if you want to compare advantages to the disadvantages, you can say something like, when you have stated the advantages or disadvantages, can say similar to, or in common with, also, either, in the same way, neither, at the same time, just as, resemble. If you want to contrast, you can use words like however, on the contrary, on the other hand, differ from, nevertheless, although, instead of, otherwise, alternatively, even though. If after you have concluded, you have compared, you have contrasted, after you have compared, you have contrasted, you now want to maybe generalize. You can say generally speaking, overall, on the whole, in general, by and large, is acceptable. It seems to me that, I believe, all in all, basically, essentially, as a rule, all things considered, for instance, you want to make your opinion known at the end, say all things considered, I do agree, or I am of the opinion that the advantages or the merits are more than the demerits. Because of what? You now state your point that you have stated before in the first and second body paragraphs. So if you want to conclude, for example, you want to conclude, what are the things, the phrases that you can use? In conclusion, okay, before I get to conclusion, maybe you want to add an information. You want to move further and explain your points. You use words like what? In addition, furthermore, also, and moreover, similarly, likewise, as well as, besides, even though, what's more. All right? So, you are concluding. In conclusion, to summarize my points, lastly, finally, to conclude with, in short. Those are the phrases that you can use. There are more of them. I'm just suggesting some to you. Now, the question for the last time is, we live in a world of technology these days. While the internet brings with it clear advantages, the problems in terms of control and security of information outweighs the advantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? This is 3 o'clock. When it is 3:40 exactly, you stop. Do everything about the question. Good luck. Let's go. I'm just
Hello,
going
ma.
to sit here. I won't say any other thing.
Oh. Hello, ma. It's 4 o'clock.
Hello? What did you say?
It's 4 o'clock, not 3 o'clock.
This is 3 o'clock in my own time. It's 4 o'clock in Nigeria. So this is 4 o'clock. You stop at 4:40.
Okay.
Hello, ma. Please, ma, for the last time, can you read the question again?
No, ask any of your classmates. We live in a world of technology these days. While the internet brings with it clear advantages, the problems in terms of control and security of information outweighs the advantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? We live in a world of technology these days. While the internet brings with it clear advantages, The problem in terms of control and security of information outweighs the advantages. To what extent do you agree or disagree? I've read it again. I hope you got it now. Good. Mr. Danladi, your video is not on. It's not showing that you have a video on. And I've read the question again. I believe you should have heard what I read as you requested.
But my video has been on all this while.
No problem. Just go ahead and do your work. The question has been written. The question prompt is on the chat already. It's correct.
Yes,
What you
ma'am.
wrote is correct. So that's it.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. You need to continue your writing. It's not just an introduction. Remember, you're writing everything and you have 40 minutes. Gloria Chiamaka, please stop putting your microphone on.
What are key colors?
Point out.
Again, you put my color inside. What do you do with your coach? Like, you not allow, not allow you to use me. I'm not saying anything. Probably, you're not supporting me. But this version of it, like, version has gone up soon. All right.
You should be getting ready to round up. If you were writing before you go and type, you should have started typing by now so you can send everything that you have written. If you have typed your work and sent, you should go through what you have written and make sure that you have done everything that is expected of you. In all, your work should have an introduction, a body paragraph 1, a body paragraph 2, and a conclusion. Your body paragraph 1 should be 2 of your points. Your body paragraph 2 must carry a concession and then 1 of your points. So if you don't have a concession, it means your work is not yet complete. In your conclusion, it must be a summary of your points in body paragraphs 1 and 2. After you have summarized that, you should have a restatement. I mean, you should say again exactly where you belong. Your conclusion should tell me whether you strongly agree or disagree, whether you somewhat agree or disagree, or whatever. Your conclusion must say it. Your introduction is such a way that if I read it without going to body paragraph 2 and 1, I should know what you have said in body paragraphs 2 and 1. If your work has not been arranged in that form, then it means that your task is not yet completed. Good. All right. Well done. Stop writing. Thank you very much. So who did not write anything? Rosemary. Rosemary. I'm asking you to unmute. Unmute so that we can hear you.
Okay, ma.
Where's your work?
Sorry, ma, I missed it. I had an emergency that made me to leave the room. So before I could finish what I was doing, coming back, I noticed that some people were already writing. So I couldn't pick it.
I don't understand. So if you were already writing, yes, but you came back, you couldn't continue or you couldn't start. Because if it's you couldn't start,
I
the
couldn't
question is
start.
there.
I
The
requested for
question is there. And
yes, ma.
did I send you a personal message or not?
I just came back online now.
It's all right. Pick the question, write it and send it to the mail.
I just came back online now. Okay.
All right. So, correction. Everybody on mute. Please make sure you don't have any music playing in your background. Please, I don't want any music in your background. Put them off, please. Now on mute because it's a discussion. So in your introduction, please. Your introduction. Nowadays, we live in a world of technology. Despite the obvious benefits associated with technology, the problems with regards to control and security of information supersedes the importance. I strongly disagree with this idea for some reasons which will be discussed in this essay. We disagree with the idea, right? Now
Yes,
you have
ma'am.
a side. So I'm going to look for points to disagree. Number one. Number two, I strongly disagree with this idea for some reasons which will be discussed in this essay. For some reasons which will be discussed in this essay. Does it look like a good grammar to you?
I didn't want to state.
Mm.
Can you hear me, ma? I used some because I feel I don't know the exact number of points I may come up with.
Agreed.
So I didn't want to state.
I agree with you.
Okay.
That you are not going to state your reasons like I did advise. But for some reasons which will be discussed in this essay, don't you think I strongly disagree with this idea already states that you disagree and you have your reasons for disagreeing. So why are you saying for some reasons? You strongly disagree with the idea, and this essay will discuss your opinion. Simple.
Okay.
Do you understand? So
Yes, ma'am.
as I'm correcting her introduction, I'm correcting your own as well. In the sense that this to me looks more like a tautology, like repetition of ideas, repetition of the same thing. You strongly disagree with this idea. It means you have your reasons for disagreeing with the ideas. So what am I going to do as your examiner? I'm going to look out for your reasons. I'm looking out for your points, why you disagree. All you need to tell me is that the essay is going to discuss your opinion, and that's all. That's all.
Okay.
With your paraphrase of the question prompt is fantastic, is great. If not the B part of it, I will give you your complete mark for that introduction. But that's why you need to know how to rephrase and reframe so that you can write the right thing. Now, Danladi, in as much as advancement in science and technology has brought about the internet, which has made life relatively easier today, the same internet is also causing havoc to the society. In my opinion, I strongly agree that the disadvantages of the internet outweighs its advantages, as I am going to say in the following line. Now, what is as I am going to say in the following line doing there? Number one. Number two, are there no other words that you can use in place of internet? In one sentence, I have seen internet 3 times. It's not good enough. You can talk about technology. You can talk about the use of online devices. These are the things you can use, and more of them if you search, in place of the internet.
All right.
You can talk about surfing, surfing. Okay? So this is your introduction. In as much as I like the fact that you were able to reframe it and rephrase it, I am not happy with the B and the C part of your introduction.
Okay.
Perfectly well. In as much as the advancement in science and technology has brought about it has brought about the internet. So it is advancement and technology that has made life easier. I don't know if you are seeing the point that I am seeing. Why are you talking about has brought about the internet? The internet is the advancement in technology that we are talking about. So that looks like repetition to me. That looks like you don't understand what you are saying. That looks like you are explaining something that is abstract to you, to me. In as much as we want to increase our word count, we should not write what will reduce our marks at the end of the day.
All right.
Good. So you need to rephrase this statement again. The same internet is causing havoc to the society. Why not say something like, in as much as the advancement in science and technology has brought or has made life relatively easy, it is causing more havoc than good in the society.
Okay.
In my opinion, the merits outweighs the demerits. Therefore, this essay will discuss my opinion. Simple.
All right. All right.
Okay. So, Rosemary, when you came in, when you came in 3:12, we have just started a few seconds, a few minutes. If you had gone through what is here, you would have seen that the question is up there and you wouldn't need to look for the question everywhere. Now, let me tell you one thing. In life generally, when you're coming into a meeting and you are late, you go through what is on the paper that you have been given. In every meeting, there's always like an agenda or something that will be listed somewhere, either hard copy or soft copy, which I'm sure you will get. This is a virtual meeting where you know that things that are written, you still have access to them. As soon as you come in, the chats are on there. If I were you, when I come into a meeting like this, I will go to the chats and see what has been happening. You would have seen the question.
Okay, ma.
All right. So I'm not going to say anything further. Thank God you have seen the question now. Please do it and send it to the mail. It will help you. Put in all the
Okay.
corrections that we're talking about, and then go ahead and write a better essay than any of them have written. And then
Okay.
I will go through it and see what is happening. All right. Let me see. Currently, we live in the world of technology these days, while the internet brings with it clear advantages. Okay, that's the question. Oh, someone even helped you. He posted the question for you. Currently, our world has been transformed to a robotic one. And this having helped in development and improvement in the world status, there are major challenges we face as a result of new innovative solutions whose adverse effects we cannot undermine. Please, what is the difference between many major challenges and adverse effects in the context of this essay? You are repeating information. We know what to do. This is for Adenike. We know what to do, but we do the same thing. We keep doing it just because maybe we are thinking that we may not have enough words. I am an upcoming writer. If you go to my Facebook wall, I write a lot. On the many groups that I belong to, I write a lot. And I've been trying not to write too much when I want to make a point. I find myself each time going back to the same thing, writing, to the extent that it got me the name Nurse Joy Agagwu, because I write too much. I always tell stories. Now, if you give me a small topic, I can bring out about not less than 2,000 words in that particular topic, because I'll look at it here and there. But despite that, if I am writing an essay that I know is just 250 words, I am not going to go up and down rigmarole. I'm just going to go to the point. I'll go straight to the point, hit the nail on the head, pass my information, and that will be the end of it. You are telling me challenges we face as a result. Now you are telling me adverse effect in the same sentence. Just 2 lines difference from each other. You are trying to make one point. And these many words are just going to add to your errors. Okay? Your examiner is just going to look for the grammatical error in this thing, and at the end of it, they mark you down. Now, this introduction that you have written, you have in one introduction, you have even though, you have however, only you, in one introduction. I'll be waiting for your body paragraphs to see if you will have these 2 or 3 or 4 of them in your body paragraph. If you don't have, I will mark you down as an examiner. What is there in an introduction? Understand what the question is saying. Say it in the language you understand it. Then tell me your assignment that you are going to carry out in this task. And that is all. That's all. Oh. That's all, isn't it? The internet has improved the standard of living for many people. However, there has been security breach, okay, of our lives and activities, including information. This essay will discuss my opinion. Maybe that's the way I want to say it. I must not pick word for word, every word here, and change it. That's why I said I like the introduction that Peace wrote, but she spoiled the B part of it and made me to reduce her score. You must not say the things word for word. Don't go and carry there. Okay, what is the synonym for they? What is the no? You understand what the question prompt is saying. Write it in your own English. Write it in your own understanding, using your own words, with your ideas, and tell me what you're going to be doing. Now, if you have any answer in this whole work that is not addressing the issue of security and information breach, then your answer is completely wrong. If you are talking about how internet has made learning okay, and you are not mentioning anything about the fact that there is security breach, it has exposed us to armed robbery, they track your location, isn't it? It has exposed, the transmission, the data sharing. Now, I can easily have access to your information, which should not be, even without your permission, once you put anything on the internet. Accounts are being hacked. People are now committing frauds using people's names, like hacking someone's Facebook account and advertising and doing all of those things. If you are not going to be talking about that and using those things as an example, if this is your answer is not related to security breach and information breach, then you are not on the right track. What did the question say? It says that this world of today, okay, in this our world of today, that the internet, technology has brought clear advantages. However, there are problems of information control and security breach. So if your question, your answer is not going to address this issue, then you don't have anything to say. Then you have said the wrong things. Secondly, I purposely gave us some phrases before you started writing. This is because I want you to use them. And I have one of your write-ups that I'm going to use as an example. Mr. Danladi, where is his work again? Okay. Although life generally was a bit difficult about 5 decades ago, but there were no episodes of cyber crimes, which is bedeviling us today as a result of the advent of the internet. For example, people these days get their banks, please, they get their bank accounts, not their banks, hacked. You get your bank account hacked, not your bank, please. People these days get their bank accounts hacked and their hard-earned money siphoned. I don't think this is the correct spelling for siphon. I'm not sure. You need to check it, please, from their account. Why not just stop at get their hard-earned money siphoned? You have already told me the account has been hacked. So why from their bank account by these internet fraudsters? They get their money siphoned by the fraudsters. Repetition of internet again. Such things were never heard of in the time past, full stop. In addition, robbery for many has been made easier with the help of this development. This is because, or for example, or still for instance, you have used for example, so you can now use for instance. robbers can track someone's location on these devices, okay? They know when to attack and when not to attack, especially attacking a home when it is completely empty. You have given me an example, and you have said it has made robbery easier for them. You have also talked about the fact that they hack accounts and they siphon money. So there are two reasons, which is very perfect for your paragraph 1, body paragraph 1. Now, your ideas are correct, but the explanation of these ideas, the words that you have put together, the formation of your sentence and your paragraph is not correct. I am not going to be your examiner and explain this and agree that I understand your point. As at the point I become your examiner, I am now going to award you marks. So I mark you based on what I can see, your grammar, you have done the work, I understand your idea, there's a flow in your work, all right? And I am seeing some cohesive devices that are in use. Those are the things I'm going to be marking you on using the band descriptors. If I was your examiner at this point, I'm not going to give you a 3/5. I'm going to give you a 2/5, and that is automatic failure. And the 2/5 is because of the point you are making, but the explanation of the point is what is really important, because that is the way to show me that you understand English. Now, furthermore, I have a problem with the use of your furthermore. This is because in body paragraph 2, you are expected to contrast. This is where your concession comes in. I have explained it that you state your concession, then you state your point against the concession to ensure that the concession is completely knocked out, number 1. Number 2, to tell your examiner that you understand your point, even though that this is what is obtainable on the other side, I am saying that this is it. And in that concession is where you can now tell me about the fact that the internet, all right, the internet has made life easier in the sense that one can study online. Then what would be your example? For instance, someone in Nigeria studying a course, an e-course, or using e-learning to study a course in the United Kingdom or in the US. That's your example. Because you have used although, now the next cohesive device that you may use could be however. And why are you using although? You are saying, even though this is a good one, yes, I agree, but I am saying that it is still the cause, or it is still disadvantageous in the sense that you now give me another point. Okay? So if I'm going to do that, your second body paragraph, for example, I can say, although the use of these technologies has made learning easier. For instance, someone in Nigeria can study a course using the e-learning platform, can study a course in the UK using the e-learning platform. However, the personal securities of individuals, or you can say, however, people's lives are in danger when their locations are exposed. For instance, a high or a top military officer can be a target for hired assassins or for hired killers, because the location will give away that person's security. At the end of the day, they can easily track him or her and kill him. So even though internet learning made life easier, you can learn at the convenience of your home, the comfort of your home, and at your own time and all of that, it is still condemnable in the sense that it exposes people and their location, thereby endangering their lives because they are not secured. That is one aspect. Another point is the fact that although the internet has made transfer of information from one place to the other easier, it has consequences in the sense that the devices that are being used expose individuals towards radioactive elements. For instance, children learning using the what do they call, the laptops and the desktops and the phones, these devices, especially in this pandemic. Now, what you are doing is this. You know that in your second body paragraph, you must compare and contrast when you have an agree or disagree essay. That is the reason why I gave you those points. So you need to use although and however, although and but, in as much as, however. So you need to know what word, what phrase to use first. And in writing your concession, you must understand that the concession comes before the other point, so that the time you are concluding, it is easier. If after giving this point, based on what Danladi wrote, I am going to make a conclusion. In conclusion, or to summarize my points, or to sum it up, in conclusion, conclusively, the internet has made learning easier, as one can learn programs in various countries without having to travel there. However, people's bank accounts can be easily hacked, locations are given out, and their lives are endangered or exposed. People are exposed to death or to diseases. Therefore, I am of the opinion that the disadvantages of this development or of the use of the internet outweighs or is more than the advantages. What do? Full stop. You have summarized all your points, including your concession. You have said them precisely the way they are, in such a way that if I have read your introduction and gone to read your conclusion, I will have an idea of what your first and second body paragraph carries. Is anybody confused? Is anybody confused? Danladi.
Yes, ma'am.
Peace.
Ma?
Sorry,
Peace, do you understand?
Yes, I understand.
Is it the network?
the network
Can
is a
you,
bit
can you
poor.
hear me?
The network is a bit poor in my location. Everything has frozen on my screen. I can't even the network is so bad. She has been logged off. Uh,
Hello, can you hear me?
loud and
Yes.
The network today is, oh dear. Okay, so is anybody confused with this explanation? What I did was to pick wow. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Loud
you,
and
ma.
Okay. So what I did was to pick the ones that were complete. His work, Mr. Laladi, your conclusion is not complete at all. If you
okay,
had
I
followed what
I
I explained in the conclusion or how to write the conclusion, you will see that your conclusion is incomplete.
yes, ma, I did it all over again. If you check below.
Anyway, so that's it though. If you all go back and try to, because for some of your answers, it was not even addressing security at all. Some of your answers, people were talking about how they can learn online, and it's not even in your concession. That's the only place it should appear. That's the only place it should appear. All right. The only place that the good side of the internet should appear is when you are talking about learning online, except if you disagree, like Favor and like Peace disagreed, and I'm able to connect with her points. Okay. Oh dear. With the way this internet is, I'm just going to end this class. Meanwhile, I'll type a few corrections and maybe I'll go through this and see if I can write the way it should appear if you are disagreeing and the way it should appear if you are going to agree. I'll write and just send it to the Telegram group probably before our next class again. The whole thing is cracking and the time is all gone and I need to prepare for other things. So we'll bring this class to an end today and I'll see how I can make that correction on the Telegram group. Have a great day. Bye-bye.